So I didn't complete the online orders. So in this video, I'm going to show you kind of how I would attack this spreadsheet using Python. But again, you do not need to do this in Python if you want to go ahead and have a crack at it in whatever spreadsheet program you want to use, like Excel or Numbers or Google Sheets. Have at it. But I kind of wanted to share also a way to do it using Jupyter Notebook. Okay, so let's go down to the bottom. So I kind of already did some of the pre-setup. So I am in my Jupyter Notepad or notebook, and so how I would bring this in, if you look at the spreadsheet, and this only came in as a spreadsheet, it did come in as CSV. We have 3 tabs. We have order, customers, and products. So what we do is we use pandas, so PD, and we read the Excel spreadsheet, its path, as well as the actual file name, and then what sheet you want to bring in. I decided to bring in each sheet individually. You can bring in all the sheets at once, but I thought this would just be easier. Feel free to dig into Pandas documentation in order to see other ways of how to bring in these sheets, but again, I thought it would just be easier to do this. So let's go ahead and run this. Oopsie. What happened? Oh, I forgot to path file. Okay, yeah, so I have a path file up here. Okay, run my path file. Let's go back down. Alright, let's run this. Okay, so now let's go ahead and look at the data frames. Make sure they came in. Oh, looks like that one came in. That one also came in, and this one came in as well. Let's see, online orders, products. Oh, okay. So the products came in. Online orders came in. And we need customer data. I'm going to check customer data. So let's build out some code. And customer data also came in. Great. Alright, so let's take, if we're going to, so it looks like everything came in fine for the product head. The issue we're having right now is the online orders. We have a lot of columns that don't have any entries, because I think this was pulled out and that whoever created the spreadsheet didn't delete these columns. So let's take a quick peek at online orders and see if there's nothing in these, and there isn't. So there's no there's no records in either of these columns. So what I'm going to head and do is delete these columns from this data frame, so we only have order ID, order date, customer ID, product ID, and quantity. So what I'm going to do is create a list of all of those columns I want to get rid of, and then I'm going to use drop and then bring in the columns, and then we're going to see what the data frame looks like after we drop the columns. And now it's very clean. Okay, so now let's go ahead and get the legacy field name. Now I didn't run this, so let's go ahead and find where this is. So I have to run this first to get it to work, and then drop back down very bottom, and now I have the legacy column names. So let's go ahead and open it in text editor, copy paste, and go to our spreadsheet and paste these in. I've already pasted it in before, but here, I'll just delete, paste them in so you see. Okay, so I think we have some duplication in the order file if I'm correct, and I do. So we see we have an order that's duplicated, customer ID is duplicated, and product ID has more than one. So this is kind of the same issue with the other order table here. We have that weird duplication. So since we have the same kind of behavior between the coffee shop orders as well as the online orders, we can literally actually use the same tables. There's no need to create an additional entity when the one already exists. We just need to make sure that these order IDs are duplicated in our in-person or in-shop orders, which doesn't look like they are. If you look at the order IDs, they look totally different than the online ones. So that's a very clear indication when we do add these two data sets together to complete or to create the actual database table. We can easily see, okay, there's a certain format to online orders versus, you know, in person in the shop orders, right? So that's really convenient. So we need to go ahead and indicate that in our orders. So we can go in here and edit this. Go to orders, and then we can do, what did they name it? They name it orders as well. So just say e-com orders. So we kind of know, okay, there's a little bit of difference between, or things coming in a little bit differently for the two, or not differently, that there's two spreadsheets for orders. So let's go ahead and choose this one and go ahead and drag it down. Another thing we probably need to make sure is that we have the column names in here too, the legacy column names. Order ID. So created at, we'll just say, I'll add order date. Right, and we need to add a row above. So we have customer ID, which we do not have with our in-person orders, and we have customer name. So that's something we also need to think about, is if we want to keep customer name when we build the database, or should this column be optional, or do we, you know, if it's in person, maybe the customer ID could either be the customer name that comes in, but that, I don't know. It's something we can think about when we start building. Also, in and out would not be applicable to online orders. So there's a couple of things here that we need to consider. So what I'm going to do is do underscore like that to show that for the first file there's nothing that exists. There is customer name, but we're not going to track customer name in this. So I think that might be something to consider, is again, just kind of think about what we could do, and this would be something like I would actually ask the subject matter specialist or whoever is in charge, like the owner of this coffee shop, how they would want to track customer names coming into the shop, because maybe this is just something that shows up on the register, or as orders are being made, just happens to show up on the kiosk of the barista, and then they just throw it away. I don't know. Maybe, yeah, this could be something that we may not need to worry about. So what I would do, again, is the decision table. So I'll go here, order, so we say something like, need to decide whether or not to retain the customer name when customer orders in the cafe versus the customers that order online. So this is very important, so I probably would bold this because it's something that I would want to pop out, and something I would really need to ask the owner what they would want to do about this. Okay. Okay, and then products. If we look at products, so these are products that are sold online, and my assumption is they are only selling bags of coffee beans. That's it. So you have different roasts here. There's 4 different kinds. I actually looked this up. There are only 4 different kinds of coffee beans. So what I would do with this is actually write it out. I know Rob means Robusta. So I would actually type it out. And then LMD is light, medium, dark roast. And as you see, the product ID is made up of the first letter of what kind of bean it is, what kind of roast type, and then the size. So product ID is kind of like a SKU, and so I would actually add this to, this would actually be like a calculated field similar to SKU, but it's looking at different aspects of the product table. And then also we have some sizes and some unit prices that aren't exactly clear as to how they're calculated, so I would have to really dig in and see how that's calculated at a later date, obviously. And then customers is way more intense. This is actually something we would build out. I don't think I built it out for this. Let's look at the entity phrases. I'm going to drag this over. Let's look at our entity phrases here. Actually, yep, I do not have customer. So let's go ahead and build that out. So for this, I will remove right now because, again, I think we've kind of decided on what we're going to do with that one. So let's go to customer. Customer data, run that, and let's go ahead and copy it and bring it over to our table. Alright, customer ID would be a logic table, and actually I would call this customer number. We add a row above and do customer ID, which would be a number that I would, or the database would create. So this would be a physical key. Customer number is a logical key. We have name of customer, email of customer, phone number, customer, so address, line 1. Now if this was I would actually add address line 2 as well, but I'm not going to worry about it right now. And then has loyalty card, and this would be a yes no answer or true false. And all of these would be table fields. No, that's not what I want to do. Oh, this thing is annoying. Alright. Okie dokie. So let's delete that. And let's create another entity, which will be our customer entity. So customer is the entity. The file that we are pulling it from is the e-commerce one, and customers. Right, so customers, we'll just do the e-com customers, and these are persons, and we're going to name the table as TBL customer. Okay, and we are going to change the color to dark blue. Why not? Delete that. Done. Okay, let's go down to the bottom and assign it the correct entity. Alright, there we go. So hopefully this has made sense to you. If it hasn't, feel free to leave a comment or a question down below in the comment section. I highly recommend, if you haven't signed up for this email course, again, it's free. And again, I go through this and give you a lot of more information on how to build out these entity phrases. Okay. So I'm going to end this second review of design decisions and how to build out these tables or these entities. Alright, if this has helped you at all, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and again, sign up for the free email course. Alright friends, till next time.